One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. To let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful Fuck It Friday morning. Let's get it. Great to see everybody, man, and good morning to everybody. So we got some new information that's going on in regards to the U.S.-Iran deadline as well, regarding the ceasefire. By the way, there's Lucy running around behind us this morning. And then we have the White House correspondent suspect video that just came out yesterday. It appears that it just came out yesterday. And we have all of that footage and all of the things for you guys as well. But then we have Tacoma school stabbing that happened. So let's go ahead and give you guys the breakdown, like what we're actually on a chronological landscape here from yesterday, getting us into current time this morning. So yesterday, right after the show, a few hours after the show, I think about 3 hours, U.S. House passes DHS funding bill. It says, after weeks of delay, the House voted Thursday to fund much of the Department of Homeland Security, but not its immigration enforcement operations, and sent the bipartisan package to President Donald Trump to sign, ending the long agency shutdown in history, or the longest agency shutdown in history. All right. And then we have Mike Johnson, actually. Speaker Johnson speaks after the House passes DHS funding bill. We have that for you guys. Then we have Trump yesterday during the afternoon started signing executive orders. And so we have that footage for you guys as well. Then we have several hurt after stabbing at Tacoma area high school. Says at least 5 people were hurt after a stabbing at Foss High School in Tacoma, Washington. 1 person is in custody. So they do have somebody in custody for this. And then we have that new video that came out, White House correspondent dinner. Suspect seen rushing past security agents. Yes, we already saw that from the bootleg version when we saw it like being recorded from a phone but and it was terrible footage. But now we actually have a better view, I guess. We're gonna review that here in a bit. We got Iran war. Hegseth argues ceasefire pauses 60-day deadline. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Joint Chief Chairman General Kane testified before Senate lawmakers Thursday, which was yesterday, speaking under oath about the U.S. war in Iran. The conflict faces a key deadline Friday under the War Powers Act, which gives the Trump administration 60 days to launch an offensive attack without further action from Congress. Friday marks 60 days since, quote, Operation Epic Fury was launched in Tehran. Hegseth argued the 60-day timeline has paused due to the ongoing ceasefire. And so because the ceasefire is in effect for the last 2 weeks or whatever, that time doesn't count for the 60-day deadline. Okay, that's what he's getting at. And then we have key inflation gauge jumps to highest level in 3 years. So a key inflation measure jumped in March as gas prices soared. the latest sign that the Iran war is pushing up the cost of living and delaying any interest rates cuts by Federal Reserve. So then we have first US-Venezuela flight in 7 years lands in Caracas. The first direct commercial flight between the United States and Venezuela in the last 7 years arrived Thursday in Caracas. It comes 7 years after the Department of Homeland Security ordered an indefinite suspension on flights due to security concerns. So I wonder if that's like flights like just for normal people to travel. I'm not really sure. U.S. reaches 60-day. This is what they're saying just 2 hours ago. By the way, U.S. reaches 60-day war power deadline to continue Iran war. It says the U.S. has reached the 60-day deadline to get approval from Congress to continue the war with Iran. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Hegseth argued that the clock has paused on the deadline for the Trump administration to seek that approval. This comes as the war also rages on in the Middle East. The Israeli Defense Forces said in southern Lebanon, 40-plus infrastructure sites were dismantled. Among the targets struck were command centers, military structures, and more. And then actually, we have two more. Then we have Sheriff Judd. We actually have an update on that whole Santa trafficker. And remember, he called it poke around and find out, because it's Polk County. And then we also have Foss High School stabbing. New details have arrived just an hour ago, by the way. So we have all of this. We have to condense, and hopefully we can do it within an hour, but it seems like we're probably going to go into overtime. Anyways, listen, let's go ahead and do our call to actions real quick, and then we'll get into the craziness. Make sure you guys come in and hit that like button, as well as double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it. And it's free to do so. You know what else is free? Is hitting that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, members only on Saturday mornings. By the way, that's tomorrow morning. So if you guys are members, make sure you guys show up for that. Speaking of members, please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. Making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. A little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail, man. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. And we also have a Discord server for all of you legends. Make sure you guys go in the video description down below if you have not already joined. There's the invite link for the Discord in there. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen. At any time, you guys can donate to those, and I will absolutely get 100% of the proceeds, and I will read out loud any message that comes along with it, just like a super chat. So I've got my email up, ready to rock and roll, and we're always scanning. All right, good morning to everybody, man. Let's go ahead and scroll our way up and say hi to everybody. Real quick, we got Charles Darwin in the building. Always appreciate you as well over there in Australia. We got Steve Posey as well. Appreciate you hanging out with us this morning, as well as Easy Frank. Shout out to you, by the way. We got Sick Bastard. Yes, sir. And Easy Frank says, I see Lucy. That means you guys must hit the like button, by the way. We got Charlie Rose. Good morning to you as well. And Big Dan. Yes, sir. Always appreciate you. We got Chopper John as well. And I like that profile picture, by the way. Great to see you in the chat. We got TVT as well. Appreciate you, as well as VC, my man, Virginia Chaos, as well as Josh Phillips over there on the Facebook side of things. Great to see you. Always appreciate you, by the way. We got Magic Man as well. Great to see you. And Tiffany Lance up in the building. Always appreciate you as well. Steve Posey gifting out a membership starting out this morning. Thank you very much for not only helping me, but someone in the Breakfast Club as well. And yes, first of the month. That's right. You're the first actual donation of the month already, man. So great to see you guys. So we're going to go ahead and pretty much get right into the craziness now. Let me go ahead and get this prepared for you guys, and I'll go ahead and bring it up. This is our first story. U.S. House passes DHS funding bill. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. I'm Ryan Schmelz. We do have some breaking news to get to right here. So the final act of the House this week was that they put up a funding bill that would end the DHS shutdown through voice vote. It was a bill that was passed by the Senate. There may have been some pushback and some back and forth. There were some Senate Republicans or House Republicans who weren't happy with it, but it appears that that is now passed via voice vote. So the DHS...
I'm assuming because they would be unhappy with it because it lacked... ICE funding.
Shutdown, the longest shutdown of a government agency in the history of the United States, is now officially over. TSA workers, other workers funded under the department.
Yes, but now we're still at the same problem of having ICE not funded. I mean, it's funded through with the big beautiful bill right now. I believe it's like going until 2029 or something like that. But anyways, that's a short-term solution to a long-term problem. We're eventually going to get to that argument again. And the argument again will be, how do we fund these motherfuckers? The Democrats are going to absolutely shut it down, and the Republicans are going to try to get it funded. And you're going to see the same stalemate that we've been watching.
Department of Homeland Security, like the Coast Guard, can now get their paychecks, and they can now resume essentially their operations as they were before the shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. There's still a lot of questions about what happens next with ICE and Border Patrol, because I believe that was not funded under this measure. So, but there is an active effort by
yeah, no kidding, Virginia Chaos. There's no doubt on that.
In both the
We're
House
all
and the Senate
feeling that.
Put together what's called a reconciliation package to fund DHS through the end of this year, but also through multiple years from now when it comes to ICE and Border Patrol. So
exactly,
that still remains to be seen about what's going to happen with that. But we do have the breaking news that the DHS shutdown that has been going on for quite some time now.
So all that has to happen now, after it got passed like that, basically it goes to Trump, and Trump has to sign it.
Is officially over. Here we have this from the House Press Gallery.
Well, it's not necessarily completely over yet until Trump signs it.
Concurred in the Senate amendment to the House amendment to H.R.
What's up, Wild Card? Good morning to you.
7147 by voice vote. I know that was so plain English for all of you and so easy to understand, and we all totally got what that means. But essentially, that is the House Gallery putting out there that the Senate amendment that would end the DHS shutdown has been agreed to, and now the shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security is finally over after a very, very long time. Here we go. Cami Mundo, our friend over at Deseret News, saying this: House just passed the Senate DHS funding bill, everything except ICE and Border Patrol in a voice vote on the floor. The 75-day shutdown poised to come to an end.
What's up, brother KP? Great to see you. And yes, we're going to pop one out right now.
It now is just going to require a signature from President Trump. Now, keep in mind, there are Republicans who were not happy about this. They felt like they were jammed by the Senate. They did not want to send over a funding measure that didn't include Border Patrol as well as ICE. There's been some meetings going on Capitol Hill over the last couple of days that have gone well, and tonight there's been screaming matches apparently that have been heard coming from either Speaker Johnson's office or some of the other offices where these meetings have been happening on the Hill. But ultimately, it looks like there was no pushback by doing this voice vote and ultimately ending the shutdown. And keep in mind, the Trump administration did urge House Republicans to pursue the Senate bill and just pass it, because it's now going to bring the long shutdown over 70 days, 75 days to be exact, to an end. So major breaking news here on your Thursday.
Now, if I would have said bust one out, and even then, I guess it's all suspect. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and bring this up. And by the way, great to see you in the chat, Ghost. Great to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning. All right. So now this is Speaker Johnson speaks after the House passes the DHS funding bill. So let's go ahead and hear what Speaker Johnson has to say.
I'm really glad to tell you that House Republicans pulled together and delivered some major pieces of legislation and huge priorities for the country in the last few days. Let me give you a couple of examples. We passed the Farm Bill, as you know, a major achievement, delivering real relief and certainty for our rural America and for all Americans. This is the first time Congress has done that since 2018. Been quite a while, but we got it done. We've also made certain that the House is going to be able to have an up or down vote.
Real quick, we got Carrie from Rob's neighbor. Great to see you, by the way. Great to see you. And Virginia Chaos says he's gay.
Why are you gay?
Shit.
Vote on a date cert on the E15 issue, which is, is a big priority for a lot of our members here in the chamber. And most importantly of all the things we got done this week, we got the budget resolution passed. This is very, very important because that will ensure that border security and immigration
Man, they really can't get their fucking audio together, can they?
Will continue today and well into the future, despite Democrat
Mr. Al Patterson. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Attempts to reopen our borders and protect criminal illegal aliens from removal. The net result of passing our reconciliation bill is that ICE and CBP are funded for 3 years, and Democrats got absolutely nothing for their political charade and shenanigans out of that. We repeatedly offered in good faith, I want to point out, remind everybody.
Yes, all they really did was complicate the process, slow down the process. It's typical government bullshit. right here. And then all for nothing to really happen.
To negotiate on funding these agencies. But ultimately, the sad and actually shocking truth is there's not a Democrat in the House or the Senate that believes border security and immigration enforcement should exist at all. By word and deed, Democrats have made clear their desire to defund both of those critical functions of our government. We also passed the FISA reauthorization to ensure that the administration is armed with the best possible intelligence to continue eliminating terrorists and defending our homeland. We pray that the Senate can now pass our FISA bill as quickly as possible, and you know they're deliberating over that right now. Now, I just want to say this. Sometimes the process around here is cumbersome. That's the way this works.
I got you, Steve Posey.
Stupid.
But in spite of our razor-thin, historically small majority, House Republicans continue to deliver for the American people. We will continue to do that for the remainder of the year, and that is a large reason why we are going to win the midterms so that the grown-ups can stay in charge here. Take a few questions.
Mr. Speaker, isn't this a solution on DHS that could have been passed days or weeks ago? Why did it take this long?
It couldn't, and here's why. You heard me trash the bill when it came over the first time because...
And by the way, great to see you, Rabbit of Chaos. Good morning.
It literally was drafted...
I saw you earlier.
...in the middle of the night. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning when they came up with the final language, and it was haphazardly drafted. And what it would do is, of course, orphan and leave out immigration enforcement and Border Patrol. If you might remember, in 2024, the #1 issue in the election was securing that border. House Republicans did it. The Trump administration, the president did that. And Democrats are upset about it. So they wanted to leave that out. They wanted to orphan these 2 critical agencies that are under the umbrella of Homeland Security. I remind everybody on the Hill all the time, the Department of Homeland Security is the 3rd largest department of the federal government. It has critical responsibilities. FEMA and the Secret Service and TSA and all these other agencies. But the Democrats said, we'll do some of that, but we're not going to fund border security and we're not going to fund immigration enforcement. That's absurd.
And anybody is surprised with that? Come on.
Bruh. Absurd. And we threw a fit, and we had to. We held the Homeland bill, the underlying funding bill, because we had to ensure that they could not isolate and eliminate those 2 critical agencies. We are getting those done now.
Chatting with Stacks. Good morning. Great to see you. Happy Fuck It Friday.
Now, we passed the resolution first. That was critically important for us to do to ensure that we're going to protect the homeland, even though Democrats are unwilling to do it. So now that that box is checked, we're allowed then to proceed and go through with the rest of it. This will relieve pressure from the Department of Homeland Security. Secretary Mullen, who I've spoken to in the last couple of hours, will be greatly relieved. The president will, the administration will. We were not going to have lines at TSA. Everybody will get their paychecks now. We'll get moving forward, and then we will finish the work and finally get, again, for 3 years.
Yeah, and then we're going to be in a stalemate again in 3 years because, yes, you know, ICE and Border Patrol, whatever, is funded through for the next 3 years through the big, beautiful bill. So what's going to end up happening is we're going to kick this can down the road until, you know, as soon as the deadline comes up, you're going to see another one of these fits right here where basically the Dems have to specifically now vote to fund ICE and Border Patrol, which they absolutely will not do. So when you have it clumped up into one big thing, DHS, and it's a package ordeal, it's a little bit harder to not fund the things that you don't want. But see, now that it's separated, now it complicates it because now it's totally different funding and it's by itself now. And the Democrats are going to be they're going to easily be able to target it and say no. So that's what's going to happen. And then we're going to be in the same stalemate that we were in this whole regard with DHS, but next time it won't be affecting TSA, it won't be affecting all the rest of DHS, right? Coast Guard.
With no crazy Democrat reforms, we will fund Border
Patrol
and immigration enforcement as soon as we return for the work session when that bill is finalized.
On FISA, Mr. Speaker, what do you anticipate from the Senate? And are you concerned that whatever the Senate sends over might be a problem over here?
I'm not concerned. I hope that they're going to do the right thing. Look, we sent over a reauthorization that was with minor reforms, and with the anti-CBDC measure on it. These are very simple things that the vast majority of Congress agrees with, and they should get it done. They're running out of time.
Hey, VC knows the deal, my man. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I will absolutely take you guys up on that.
As you know, it will expire tonight, the end of today. And so we're calling on them to do the job, pass the House's bill, and get this done. Check the last box
They're
of the
not going
week.
to take the House bill, though.
Well, we're going to see.
And that's very, very true, Ghost. That's absolutely right. And it definitely means more if you can keep it, obviously, on a different level. But yes, because, and also there's a lot of things that theoretically, if we, the right ends up keeping, and we win midterms, then there's a better chance that we'll be able to actually have things passed through Congress to make it permanent. Unfortunately, a lot of what's happened so far has been based off of executive orders. We're actually going to be watching on this very next story. Once we're done with this, we're going to be watching Trump actually do some executive orders, for instance, that he did yesterday. But the problem with executive orders is kind of like that problem. If you don't get it solid through Congress, then the next president or the next person that comes in that's on the opposite scale of politics, well, they can undo that whole thing, right? So anyways.
They don't seem to have another alternative. We'll find out how that works. Yeah.
What's up, Pops? Good morning. Shout out to you, man.
I don't know who you're quoting. Okay, so look, they often analogize legislating to making sausage. You don't want to see it made. And sometimes
heck yeah, Pops. Always appreciate you. We got Motobomb Virginia as well. Shout out to my man. Good morning to you and happy Fuck It Friday. Great to see you.
It's an ugly process. Sometimes it's a long process. I've never broken my word to a single person in this building. Nobody can tell you they can. There was a lot of emotion and frustration yesterday because sometimes when you have a small margin, as we do, we're currently working on a one vote razor-thin margin because of absences and the rest. And people have, different ideas, different priorities about very contentious pieces of legislation. The equations that we solved on legislation this week were virtually impossible. Many of you said it couldn't be done, but we got it done because ultimately we just use patience and frankly prayer, and we get a lot of people together and we listen to their concerns and we try to get the disparate priorities handled.
The problem that I really do have with the right is even when they do have the majority, they struggle so much to get things through. It's like it's always an uphill battle on the right, and it's like you guys had it. You guys had the opportunity to make real, actual congressional change, where you're actually pushing through or whatever through Congress. And a lot of that has not happened, except for the big, beautiful bill. That did happen, but that was a funding package, in my opinion. Yes, there was a couple of good things that are great for Americans. Originally, the idea was great, but then all these congressmen and women had to pork fill that whole fucking bill and run it up to what, $1.5 trillion? Like, it's a funding bill. Anyways, it's been a little bit of a mess, as you guys can see. We're going to move into Trump right now, though. President Trump signs executive orders in Oval Office. He did that yesterday. So let's go ahead and bring that up and we'll quickly discuss it and see what's happening. We're gonna kind of skim through it, by the way, because it's a whole signing ceremony, which we're not watching an hour of that. We're gonna be just real quick, try to get a little bit of what Trump is saying, and then maybe take a question or two, and then we're moving on. What's up, Raven? Good morning. What's up, brother? So loud. Good morning. Good morning.
Nobody.
All right, here we go.
6 points in Iowa, sir.
Jesus.
I can.
Get the audio right. Come on. No. Good morning.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We very much appreciate it. This is a big afternoon. They all are, in a way, because all of these things that we do are very important. This afternoon, I'm thrilled to sign a historic executive order expanding access.
Real quick, and Bob as well up there in Canada. I'll bring it back because I interrupted. I'm sorry.
This afternoon, I'm thrilled to sign a historic executive order expanding access to high-quality retirement savings accounts for millions of Americans. In my State of the Union earlier this year, I promised to make these same types of retirement accounts.
Exactly, Virginia Chaos. It's like, dude, these guys get funded, right? The media gets funded for like all this equipment and all that shit, and they still can't get the shit right. It's so frustrating.
By the federal employees available to all Americans. So that's what we're doing. It only seemed fair. It's really a tremendous situation for all Americans. That was really much promises made, as I say, promises kept. I'm thrilled to be joined by incredible people that I know and the warriors. Jason Smith, these are Congress people. Brian Stile, Mike Carey, Lloyd Smucker, Bill Heisinger, Ryan McKenzie, John McGuire, Zach Nunn, Derek Van Orden, Jeff Crank, Nick Begich, Monica De La Cruz, and Mike Lawler. Warriors, every one of them, they're great people. They fought very hard for what we're about to sign. And since my election, the stock market has set 59, this is in a little bit more than a year, 59 all-time record highs, adding...
What's up, Peace Dynamo? Good morning. Happy Friday, by the way. And also, for anybody that's just coming in, I haven't even said it yet. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it.
$1 trillion in value to really the value of our country, if you think about it. Under 4 years of Biden, the average 401k rose at a rate of just $875 a year. Last year under Trump, the average 401k balance was up.
Yeah, Crystal, it's very simple in the aspect of the audio game, whether they mic him up correctly or they have a mic that's hanging above him on a boom stick or whatever, where you wouldn't hear that kind of echo with a decent microphone. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not only that, but it's also the audio engineer in the background, usually a DEI fucking hire that doesn't know what he's doing and doesn't know how to hone in on audio, right?
$24,000. So $875 versus $24,000. I would say that's pretty good. This is really incredible. The numbers are incredible. The numbers being invested in our country are more incredible than any.
Oh, wow. Uncle Fester coming in hot. Fucking right out the gate. Didn't even say hi. This dude comes in, drops it like it's hot. Didn't even say hi yet. Very much appreciate you, my man. Great to see you. Good morning. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday, your Fuck It Friday, or Felony Fuck It Friday, whatever one you want to get down. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, very much appreciate that. You're not only helping me, but you're helping 5 others in the Insane Wheels family. And tomorrow morning is members only, by the way, everybody.
You see it. There are plants being built all over the USA. We have auto plants, not just AI. AI is doing great. We're leading China by quite a bit. But we
Here, I got you, homie.
Have auto plants being built all over the country. They're coming back from Canada. They're coming back from Mexico, Germany, Japan, South Korea, wherever they build autos, they're coming here. Nobody ever thought they'd see that. The union loves me. I did very well with the auto workers, but they like me a lot more now than they did when I was just talking about it. Beginning at the start of next year, every American will be able to go to TrumpIRA.gov and open a new low-cost IRA account. You'll then be able to access the same type of retirement accounts that federal employees enjoy through the thrift savings plans, which are incredible. As part of the Federal Savers Match Program, low-income Americans will be eligible to receive up to $1,000 per year in matching funds deposited.
Yes, of course that means that you're included, Ghost. Absolutely. Make sure you show up tomorrow for members only.
Directly into their accounts. It's a great thing. For millions of Americans who lack employer-sponsored plans, this will be really revolutionary because they'll be covered. Nobody thought that was possible. For example, if a 25-year-old who is eligible for a Savers Match Program invests just $165 a month under the matching federal contributions, they will have an estimated $465,000 in their account by the time they're 65 years old. In other words,
That's if they'd never touched it.
they'll be rich. And there's something awfully nice
It's not rich, but yeah, you'd be a little bit more set.
about that. But this is only the first step. I was talking to Kevin Hassett a little while ago, and the people standing right behind me, we're going to take it to the next level. And the next level, Kevin, you're going to mention something, but the next level will be necessary to have congressional approval. What you just heard, we don't need congressional approval. And it'll never be terminated, because to terminate it, if somebody else is in office, to terminate it, you'd have to take that money away. You'd have to really take away something that's so positive. I don't think any politician would do it. But to take it to the next level, we need congressional approval, which should be very easy to get. It should be bipartisan. Normally, it would be bipartisan, but today, nothing's bipartisan, right? I mean, it should be something that everybody supports. So, Kevin, before we start, maybe you could just explain what we're talking about for the next level.
Right. So for the next level, sir, what we're already talking, Chairman Smith and I about, and I've been talking with Mr. Smucker about this for a number of years, is that we're going to expand this program that you're creating here, which is for low-income people, to middle income people and maybe above as well, so that every American, most high-income people have an employer that gives them a 401k with a match. But low-income people or Uber drivers or something, they don't have access to that. They don't have access to the match. What you've done here is you've given the match to low-income people with incomes below $35,000. But we think that there are a lot of people, even who make more than that don't have any assets.
Absolutely. That's the whole fucking middle class, basically. I mean, aside from maybe, a house, maybe they rent, whatever, there's not a humongous amount of assets for the middle class.
For retirement, and so we're working with Congress to significantly expand this program and are looking forward for legislation.
It's either shit for the fucking poor or it's shit for the rich. It's never anything in between there,
Here to expand this.
And also the Trump accounts, you remember, with Michael Dell, Susan.
What's up, Pablo? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. Happy Friday.
The group that we had are setting records.
We have
the numbers.
5 million signups right now, sir.
5 million signups in a short period of time, far above what we thought even possible. So,
Well, shit, I didn't even know it was fucking happening, to be honest. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the signing
best
here.
administration. They wouldn't sign a pipeline deal, and we have pipelines going up. And by the way, they're way underground. They're not a problem. Nobody even knows they're there. It's so crazy, but they wouldn't approve anything having to do with the pipeline, and they're great. As opposed to trucking it or training it, they're great. A lot of.
He went on a little bit of a off tangent there when I skipped ahead, I see. All right, so let's go ahead and hear the next signing that he's going to end up doing here.
Private sector, and we believe
because he's going to start doing the where they're actually walking them through all the different executive orders that are happening now. All right, here we go.
Contracts currently operate. This is an executive order on federal contracting, sir. Many federal contracts currently operate on a cost-plus basis. This provides oftentimes weird incentives for contractors, leads to cost overruns, costs the federal government a lot of money. What this executive order does is it establishes a fixed price contract as the default in most federal contracts. This aligns the federal government with what would typically exist in the private sector, and we believe will continue to drive down fraud and abuse in federal contracting government-wide.
Would anybody like to object to this?
Absolutely not.
You fight for this one too. Okay, thank you.
Next one.
You previously announced that we were withdrawing Casey Means as the Surgeon General, sir, and appointing Dr. Safir, or nominating Dr. Safir in her place.
Yeah.
That on the left is the withdrawal, which will later be transmitted to the Senate.
Okay.
And on the right is the new nomination form for our new Surgeon General.
Nicole Sapphire, she's with Fox, was with Fox. Isn't with Fox anymore, Peter? But she's great. She'll be the Surgeon General.
I believe she's with Memorial Sloan Kettering in New Jersey, sir, and she's an outstanding doctor.
She is.
So it's a double page for a push out and a push in.
I just don't know how Biden used the auto pen. There's so many, Really, there's so many things to say. They say, here, please take this. It's crazy. All 4 years was crazy. Okay.
This motherfucker, he never can, he can't help himself. Come on, man.
Bruh. She's going to be great. Surgeon General. Thank you.
This is a proclamation declaring this weekend to be National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Weekend. As you know, firefighters do an incredibly difficult, dangerous job, help keep us.
Yeah, Bob, I mean, I don't know if you heard me say it earlier, but that's exactly what I was saying. You know, that's exactly right. You know, when it comes to these executive orders, they can easily be overturned. That's why it's very important if you hold the majority, especially as the president, with your party, you're able to push things through Congress a little bit easier, and that's where you're going to see actual shit stand and change and not change. But with executive orders, yes, they're basically a however long the term is. That's usually how long those executive orders last. So yes, you're right.
Safe. This is a proclamation honoring their sacrifice and remembering those who have fallen.
Great. Everybody likes that?
You bet.
Okay. Firefighters.
That one deserves something.
See how they overcrank the audio and everything's clipping.
Okay.
That's right, sick bastard. Make sure you guys get the likes up.
Proclamation. Your administration, particularly the First Lady, have made foster and adoptive care major priorities. This is a proclamation declaring National Foster Care Month, honoring those who participated in foster programs, who have helped raise foster children.
You talking about the debate that we did, Charles? It went phenomenal. It went phenomenal. Blew the other side, the incumbent, out of the water. That full video is being edited by our team right now. And then once it gets completely edited, because it was not only recorded from like other, angles, it was recorded on the center with our main camera, very, very expensive, like movie level camera. So once that comes out, I'll actually post it onto Insane Wheels. I'll actually upload it as a video for you guys to check out. Anyways, back to this.
Right. And speaking about the many things that your administration, including the First Lady's office, have done on that set of issues.
Yeah, it's been a big thing for the First Lady, so this is in honor of our First Lady.
Well said.
Yeah, I'm going to be one of them to post it. Yes. It's going to be on a couple of different outlets that are going to be uploaded to, but my outlet will also be one of them. We got Brother Straight Jacket. Great to see you, Sicko Smoke. Great to see you in the chat. Or 6-7 Smoke.
I spent time in foster care.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That is good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So do you have any questions? Maybe we discuss.
Okay, so that was it. There's no more executive orders after that. All right, let's go ahead and get into this whole thing real quick. It's a very, very quick little update. It's just a breaking news headline update. Several were hurt after stabbing at Tacoma area high school. Now, I do believe we may have an update on this somewhere in our storyline. It actually, yes, there was information that came out this morning, and it just came out right before we go live. All right, good. But this is the headline. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly discuss it here.
Thanks again for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. We're continuing to follow that breaking news that's coming to us out of Washington State. I'm going to put this back up on your screen in case you missed it here as we were watching, as Fox 13 is now reporting there that at least 5 people have been injured after a stabbing incident happened at Foss High School in Tacoma, Washington. This happened this afternoon there in the city. We do know that it's about 30 or so minutes.
What's up, Dennis? Great to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far.
From Seattle proper, Tacoma, Washington is. And so we're continuing to get these updates as this is a developing story. Ultimately, though, our partners at Fox 13 are reporting that they confirmed with the Tacoma Fire Department that there are a total of 5 patients. 4 of them are currently in critical condition, according to the Tacoma Police Department.
Wow, they're in critical too. Oh, no.
1 suspect is also in custody.
So they did get 1 person in custody. Now, I'm sure that is the guy. But we have the update for you guys on that, but we're going to play that a little bit later, actually. It'll be one of our stories that we close with, just came out. But first, we got to get into this new video from this White House correspondent dinner. Suspect seen rushing past security agents. It's some new footage. It's not that old, grainy, fucked up footage. It's new footage that came out yesterday. And I saw it. I reviewed it like to myself, right? But nonetheless, we have it here for you guys. So let's go ahead and bring this up. And we really don't need to hear from Homeboy about this. I want to see the video here, which is here.
You have the attempted assassination of the president. The latter requires intent. And we'll see. Look, this is just a complaint. You know, we haven't gotten a grand jury indictment yet. And U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro there in D.C. said that there might be additional charges. Certainly, the assassination charge gets the most press and the headlines. But I think when you go to the grand jury, I think the prudent thing would be to have a belt and suspenders approach, have some fallback charges like that. 18 U.S.C. 111 assault charge that we typically see. Also, the attempt on other cabinet members or even federal officers. Those are all federal crimes. So that way, if this goes all the way to a jury trial and the jurors don't believe that he necessarily intended to kill the president, but intended to kill someone else, they do have something to fall back on.
All right, pay attention to this. They slowed this down 35%. Okay, so you're going to see this in a little bit slower time here.
Attorney Pirro sent this video out, and we just saw it on screen. It depicts 35% speed, so this is a slow motion of the suspect bolting into the building.
There it is.
You see the officer draw his gun. You see the suspect putting his arms up with something in his hand as well. What will prosecutors have to show to prove intent beyond?
Mind you, he's already shot 2 bullets right here. Okay, meaning the agent. Look at where his line of firing is. Okay, I know this is an emergency moment and you're whatever, but you really have to be careful about what's behind what you're shooting at. Right now, he's already shot off twice. If you've noticed, let me go ahead and bring it back, and you'll see the 2 times he shoots.
You see the officer draw his gun. You see the suspect putting his arms up.
Shoots right there. Boom. Shoots right there. Misses.
With something in his hand as well. What will prosecutors have to show to prove
shoots again, misses again,
intent beyond a reasonable doubt, Nima, and
shoots a 3rd time, and now he's in line with this officer. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this officer actually accidentally shot this officer, but luckily they have, their vests and stuff. But this is a little crazy. This is a crazy ordeal here.
Also, what are you seeing in the footage here, the slow motion footage?
Oh, I don't need him to say anything.
So to prove intent, you have
I don't even fucking care what you got to say. I've got the footage there. I'm the analyst, and that's that. All right, so let's go ahead and see what this attorney is saying right here. Let me go and U.S. Attorney Pirro. Okay, let's go and hear what she's got to say.
Nima Rahmani with that conversation earlier today. We appreciate him. By the way, U.S. Attorney Pirro, along with that video that you saw playing, she sent out this saying, today we are releasing this video provided to U.S. District Court showing Cole Allen shoot a U.S. Secret Service officer during his attempt to assassinate the president at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. There is no evidence the shooting was the result of friendly fire. The video also shows Allen casing the area in the Hilton Hotel the day before.
Well, hold on. There is no evidence the shooting was the result of friendly fire, meaning the agent that shot those 3 shots and missed, and there were people behind where he was shooting. I think there was probably an accidental friendly fire
for the attack. My office, along with the FBI, will continue this extensive investigation.
All friendly fire was theoretically, well, I guess you could do friendly fire and you meant to do it too.
To bring Cole Allen to justice. So we've been watching.
All right. So anything, of course, going more into that story as we get developments, of course, we're going to present them to you. Now we're going to go ahead and focus on Iran real quick, the Iran war. Hegseth argues ceasefire pauses 60-day deadline. So the thing is they have to go to Congress to kind of seek more approval after the 60-day mark. 60 days ran up theoretically today. Okay, 60 days. Now, what they're arguing in with Congress yesterday was that when we're on a ceasefire, that it stops the clock. So theoretically, they have 2 more weeks or whatever, however long it's been, right, of being able to do this without having to go to Congress at all to discuss anything. So that's the argument right now. Again, I'm not telling you what is what ought be. I'm talking about what is. I'm just telling you exactly what is being reported out here.
All right, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. Yesterday, we were talking about members of the House questioning Secretary Hegseth and General Kane about the war in Iran. Today, the senators had their chance. Let's check in with Fox's Jennifer Griffin. She covers the Pentagon for Fox News.
There's an actual name for that? Damn.
This report.
There were more fireworks and name-calling than substance about the war strategy and cost. The Pentagon chief clashing again with Democratic lawmakers as he and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs defended their historic $1.5 trillion budget request, a 40% increase from last year.
But the question I would ask to you and to others is, what is the cost of a nuclear-armed Iran? What is the cost to the American people if the world's most dangerous regime has a nuclear weapon?
But the truth is, they don't want war coming to this shore. There's no evidence that we are safer because of this war. We did not have any evidence.
What's up, Brother Beezer? Good morning. Happy Friday.
That Iran intended to imminently attack this country in any way, shape, or form.
Much of the discussion had already occurred in a closed classified briefing.
There's no question that Vladimir Putin's Russia is taking serious action to undermine.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out because I was thinking to myself, yeah, I mean, originally I was kind of thinking of the aspect, oh, all friendly fire is unintentional. And then I thought again, I'm like, wait, that can't be right. No, of course there's got to be intentional friendly fire. Of course.
Our efforts for success in Iran. Is there any question about that?
I think there's actions and activities that are mindful of the hearing room we're in, but there's definitely some action there.
There was just one question on the Strait of Hormuz.
General Kane,
no
can you
kidding,
tell us the
BC.
status of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps' Navy, the entity actively closing the strait?
I won't get into any classified materials, but the smaller, fast, and smaller boats, Boston whaler-sized boats, there's still some out there.
Friday marks the deadline for Congress to authorize the use of force, or for the White House to ask for a 30-day extension under the War Powers Act of 1973. But House Speaker Mike Johnson says this is not a war. In Washington, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
Call it what you want, man. They're doing all that nomenclature, policing, in the aspect for legalities. Okay.
We continue to track the latest.
They're going to call it an operation like they are, and you're going to hear people say it's not a war. It's an operation. Well, call it whatever you want to call it. It's still war. Show me the difference, of what their side. I'm not talking about what Congress says. I'm talking about what difference does it make on the battlefield if you call it an operation or a war? There is none, right? So it all looks the same.
Headlines with our experts and analysts. That includes national security analyst and host of the Strap podcast, Hal Kemper. He's here with me to discuss Hegseth's remarks and more. The Washington Post with this, saying that Hegseth argued that the U.S. can continue fighting in the Iran war despite a law that requires Congress's approval after 60 days of hostilities. Friday marks the 60-day deadline of the War Powers Act. Some people at home, Hal, they might be wondering.
What's up, Bobby? Good morning. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well.
What exactly this all means. I was reading up on it today. A number of lawmakers asked Hegseth about this today. Basically, it's a decades-old law that limits the use of force without authorization from Congress. There's a 60-day limit for the fighting, or else the law requires that Congress must declare war or authorize the use of force. So, as this post says, Friday's the deadline. How important is this 60-day timeline?
Which is today.
Well, Austin, I think it's important for many in Congress. It's certainly a benchmark, but the War Powers Act was put into effect after Vietnam. And basically the idea was we're not going to get pulled into another Vietnam. We're not going to be pulled into this really long war that took a very long time. And you can say the war lasted for...
Yeah, and Iraq was a super short time, wasn't it? And so was fucking Afghanistan, super short time, right?
You were there for 12 years or 10 years. You can go almost out to 20 years because we were there right after the French pulled out. But it's one of those things that says don't get caught in these really long wars. Now, when we were in Iraq and Afghanistan, we were under a use of force authorization by Congress. That was something that came out of 9/11. And so everything operated under that. And we went pretty far afield all the way going to Libya. But it's been on Friday, will be 60 days. We initiated this combat action against Iran. With that, there are some in the administration saying, well, there's been a ceasefire in place for over 2 weeks, so that doesn't count against that clock. Others are saying, well, it's not really a war per se. And actually, under the War Powers Act, I think this would very much fall under it as far as the definition of the type of action Congress was considering. But it's, you know, there have been two things.
What's up, Charlie? Good morning.
One went up in the House, one went up in the Senate to try and take action based on the War Powers Act. Both of them failed very much on party lines. And so I'm not sure if that Friday deadline means a lot or not. It might someday, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of meaning this week.
And I can't forget that General Kane was also there, part of the questions today.
Hell yeah, no, girl. Great to hear that, by the way. Thank you for that update. That definitely makes me happy to hear.
Yeah, you saw Kane in Jennifer's piece that we just ran. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs today, he told senators that Russia has aided Iran's war effort, but he declined to go into detail how. What do we know publicly about how Russia has helped Iran?
Well, Russia has helped them in many.
What's up, Jimmy Mack? Happy Friday to you, by the way. Let's get the likes up, everybody. We're struggling in the like department. We got to bring those up. Listen, you guys don't have to like all the craziness that's happening, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here on Insane Wheels. So thank you for that.
But particularly with intelligence, that's something that's been reported a lot, is that they provide intelligence to Iran, which is not surprising that that they had given them some very detailed intelligence on U.S. positions and U.S. bases in the region, and that the Iranians use those to strike those bases. And potentially some of the casualties that we took were because of what the Russians had provided the Iranians. Now, what little response we've heard from the White House has been basically to kind of almost equivocate this to what we do for the Ukrainians, where we provide them intelligence that they use to strike the Russians, and saying, well, the Russians are doing it for the Iranians to strike us. And that's kind of the mental thinking, or the the thoughts that are going on, at least has been articulated so far, seem to be going on at the White House level. But I think General Kane was absolutely correct. The detailed intelligence that specifically lays out what the Russians are doing would be at a very classified level, and something that he couldn't talk about in a public forum like this. And so I thought he actually answered the question quite well in that, because I have a pretty good idea of some of the sources and methods by which they would have got that intelligence of what the Russians are doing.
And with what Hal just said there, there's not many people in media, especially, that I would vouch for. But that man right there, he's on fucking point. And he does have the inside connections.
And that is definitely not something you want to talk about in public. And that's one of the challenges of testifying before Congress, when they're asking questions about, you know, what is our strategy going forward? What is our plan? How long are we going to be there? These are all things that you really don't want discussed in public forum, because that's stuff that informs the Iranians what our plans are or what our timeline is, and they would use that to their benefit.
All right.
Live look at the Capitol.
So that's good enough information on Iran for right now on that thing. We're going to get back to the 60-day argument here in a minute. But first, we're going to go into key inflation gauge jumps to highest level in 3 years. Let's go ahead and bring this up and see what they're reporting right now.
All right, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. Take a look at this. A key inflation measure is rising as gas prices are soaring as well. The Commerce Department saying that an inflation gauge rose about 0.7% in March, up from February, and compared with a year ago, prices rose 3.5%. That's the biggest increase in almost 3 years.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the quarterly GDP numbers are in, and they say that the U.S. economy grew at a 2% pace in the first 3 months of the year. What does that all mean? Let's ask economist Mike Walden. He's here with us to discuss the GDP numbers, the inflation numbers, and much more. Always good to see you. Firstly, let's talk about inflation. How much does oil have to do with today's inflation numbers?
Everything. everything. And we were.
I was just about to say that was a very good question from Austin, and I was going to jump in there and answer that before this guy did, but he got to it before I could hit pause. So, but yes, it is one of the major reasons for right now why we're seeing this inflation jump up so high.
Affecting this. I mean, oil is such a key ingredient to so many things, not
Everything.
just gasoline, but pretty much
Everything.
everything we produce has an oil component, a gas component. So this.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Look at even your shampoos and shit. Yeah, absolutely.
This was expected. It actually was a little better than I thought. I thought the rate would be somewhat higher, but the bad thing is that normally what we see, even a lot of people may not believe this, but normally what we see is prices go up, but salaries and wages go up to offset that. And we saw that in February. March, we did not get that. People are behind now in terms of their ability to buy things. So this is a bad report for consumers, but it was unfortunately, given what we're dealing with in terms of the Iran war, it was an expected report.
So yep. So and just terrible numbers what we're seeing there. Anyways, I just wanted to show you guys and give you guys those numbers, and luckily they'd said it right away. So now let's go ahead and focus our attention to an interesting development that happened, I believe yesterday. Yes. First US-Venezuela flight in 7 years lands in Caracas. Let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly discuss it. Also, you know what we have not done yet? We have not done our proper money part. We haven't discussed it. We haven't done it. Let's go ahead and
just get the money part done.
Of course it would glitch. Of course.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Now that's actual factuals, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and quickly get into this.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. Look at this. This is cool. This is the first time that we are seeing, it looks like we're having a bit of a visual interaction
there.
There we go. The Department of State with this saying, for nearly 7 years, there have been no direct commercial flights between the U.S. and Venezuela. Under President Trump, we're changing that today. Flights between Miami and Caracas have been restored. The resumption of a nonstop commercial flight between the two countries
right after this, this is a very short update. After that, I will play.
Comes months after the U.S. capture of then-President Nicolas Maduro in a stunning nighttime raid on his residence in Caracas back at the beginning of this year. It happened early January. That also comes a month after the U.S. formally reopened its embassy in Caracas following the restoration.
Caracas. I've been saying it wrong. Anyways, I'm illiterate as fuck. Everybody knows that.
Diplomatic relations with Venezuela. We heard from officials earlier today speaking on the fact that looks like an American Airlines plane was resuming again that nonstop route to Caracas.
So it was actually where just normal people can fly over there.
At Miami.
From Miami to over there.
International Airport, American Airlines staff handed passengers small Venezuelan flags. We have video of the plane taking off.
Oh, wow.
Ceremonial,
they actually did a ceremony
there with the water spraying as the plane.
That's totally interesting.
Moves through the tarmac.
Yeah, I would travel to it, Charlie. I've actually been to Brazil. For instance, I went down to Brazil, was down there in Sao Paulo, Brazil, was all over the region, and then rode our motorcycles from Sao Paulo to Rio de Janeiro, and then, of course, back down, and we got to travel all of it. It was awesome. Anyways, back to this.
Balloons with Venezuelan flag colors, yellow, blue, and red, adorned the gate door leading to the plane, according to the AP. The flight is operated by Envoy Air, which is a subsidiary of American Airlines. It departed Miami at 10:11 a.m. Eastern.
They basically throw themselves on you. It's pretty incredible. I don't know if you guys know, but there's, I believe, I may be wrong on this stat, so I advise everybody to go look it up. But I do believe the population in Brazil is heavily on more of the women's side. So there's more women than there is men, I think. I think that's what the weird stat is. So they really do throw themselves on you, especially if you're some white boy. You know what I mean?
5 minutes ahead of its scheduled time, according to Miami International Airport.
No, I went in a group, and I would do it also in a group.
It arrived around 3 hours later in the Venezuelan capital and then returned to Florida later in the afternoon. Cool stuff. Hey, and there's the
Yep. So they're showing a little love. All right. So let's go ahead and embrace our fuck ups. You know what I mean? We definitely need to
beat yourself up.
Of course it would glitch
Don't
again.
beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace thy process. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this. U.S. reaches 60-day war power deadline to continue Iran war, as we already have discussed, but this is a little follow-up on this morning.
Right now, I do want to get you
We're not going to play the whole thing either. We don't have enough time for it.
to some of the latest that we are following here as we take a live...
Shit, we just hit, speaking of time, we just hit overtime. We are officially now in overtime. Remember, there's no tax on overtime, so make sure you guys send in your donations. I very much appreciate you guys.
Look over the Strait of Hormuz. Now, again, this has
What's up,
been a
Steve
topic
Easy?
of
Good morning.
discussion here over the past several weeks and really months, as we know that 60 days have now passed since the start of the U.S. operation against Iran, that is Operation Epic Fury.
If what I was discussing is they will, like, meaning the hookers will throw themselves onto the travelers. That's what I was getting at.
That means a 1973 War Powers Law would require congressional approval to continue past that deadline. Many Republicans maintain they will default to President Trump to determine what's next for the war. Senator Susan Collins of Maine has broken with those Republicans voting in favor of a War Powers resolution. She wrote on X in part, quote, "As I have said since these hostilities with Iran began, the president's authority as commander-in-chief..."
See, and absolutely, Pablo, I wouldn't be willing to visit Mexico, and I've been to Mexico multiple times, and right now is not the time.
Is not without limits. The Constitution gives Congress an essential role in decisions of war and peace, and the War Powers Act establishes a clear 60-day deadline for Congress to either authorize or end U.S. involvement in...
Yo, Magic Man, appreciate the gold coin for 10 jewels. I very much appreciate that over there on the vertical side.
Hostilities. That deadline is not a
Thank you, Charles.
suggestion, it is a requirement. End quote.
What's up, Kenny?
However,
Good morning.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth argued before a Senate committee on Thursday that the current ceasefire effectively paused that war, so that 60-day deadline has not been reached. Take a listen.
So that's the argument, and we already saw that. Well, actually, I don't think we saw this exact part, but we already discussed this whole thing regarding the ceasefire. They're trying to, the Trump administration is trying to say that, well, because we're in a ceasefire right now, those days should not be counted. So theoretically, they should have like 2 weeks worth of being able to continue without having to go to Congress for any type of approval for anything.
On Iran, ultimately, I would defer to the White House and White House counsel on that. However, we are in a ceasefire right now, which our understanding means the 60-day clock pauses or stops in a ceasefire.
And today marks the 60th day, by the way. Today is the 60th day.
Not in. Yeah. It's our understanding, just so you know.
Okay, well, I do not believe the statute would support that. I think the 60 days runs maybe tomorrow, and that's going to pose a really important legal question for the administration. We have serious constitutional concerns, and we don't want to layer those with additional statutory concerns.
But the question I would ask to you and to others is, what is the cost of a nuclear armed
And we already saw that part.
Attack this fire between the U.S. and Iran remains in effect. Iran maintains its chokehold.
Brother Hardwire, good morning.
On the strait. This
TGIF.
live look provided there by marine traffic, and a lot of questions, of course, about the different icons that you're seeing on your screen. As I can tell you, those are basically just different vessels. But what's important to note is that nothing is moving. That is a real-time image.
And that's why I get so frustrated when there's like, people are like, it's all a lie. It's moving just fine over there. There's ships going in and out of the strait. I'm like, no, dude. No, there isn't. Actually, and I loved when someone, made that claim on this show. recently. There's somebody that made a claim on that. And I'm like, yeah, let me just go ahead and bring up marine traffic right now, and let's go ahead and see if there's any movement. Oh, nothing? Oh, funny. Because if you would see a shipping lane, this is what shipping lanes look like, nonstop. It is nonstop looking like this. This is another strait over there down by Yemen. And my audience already knows this because I explain this all the time. This is what it would look like if it was open. But it doesn't look like this. It looks like this, and it's not moving. So also pay attention to these routes. There's a lot of ships that would be normally going through this strait, but are not going through this strait right now. This is a great little, this little, it's like a cut through the Suez Canal, and then you're up into Europe right here, straight from the Middle East. You go right through there, and now you're in Europe instead of going all the way around Africa. But look at Africa. Well, look at this whole thing right now. Look at all these ships going all the way around the bottom of Africa, spinning its way around, and then going up all the way around into Europe, rather than taking this shortcut. Because a lot of the insurance says for the cargo on board of these vessels, they say if you go through this strait, then we're not going to be insuring your cargo, for instance. And then the ship owners are like, well, fuck, we're forced to have to go all the way around the map to keep our insurance or whatever, right? So anyways, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and bring this back up and see if we get any more information out of it. We'll try to squeeze a little bit out of it. And if we can't, then we'll go ahead and obviously move on into our next story here. But nonetheless, go ahead and see what we get.
The U.S. Navy is maintaining a blockade to prevent Iran's oil tankers from getting out to sea. President Trump has reportedly rejected Iran's latest proposal that would reopen the strait in exchange for an end to the blockade. Now, the issue there is that Iran wants to—
Eduardo, that would be Iran that shut it down. Absolutely. And now the United States counter to this was, well, if we can't control the strait, then we're going to control your imports and exports through your Iranian ports. And so now we have put a different level of financial pressure and infrastructural problems with oil and all of that, because it needs to be fucking moving, and they can't store. There's a lot of problems with this. You're going to actually see a lot of issues that's happening in Iran right now. They're in crisis a little bit because shit, they were in massive inflation in January, February, and that was before we got involved in this war. So yeah, it's interesting to watch, though.
Postpone the talks on a nuclear program, something that President Trump has said is not going to happen. Mark Chandler is the Director of Intelligence Community Engagement over at Coastal Carolina University.
But even now, there's no movement. Even if there was somebody trying to go through and pay the toll right now, Bill, it wouldn't work.
Also, a former senior defense intelligence official. Mark, thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to be here with us.
You're welcome, Josh, and good morning to you.
Good morning. Well, first off, I want to start by talking about this situation here with the Strait of Hormuz, a topic of discussion that you and I have talked about quite a bit over the last several months. Now, essentially, the proposal that reportedly came from Iran and was sent over to President Trump.
Oh, I want to see this here in a second, but I want to hear this answer to this question real quick. But Iran International English puts out a statement here in a minute, so I do want to see that.
Trump said that the Strait of Hormuz would be reopened, but the big sticking point there is that talks would be postponed on nuclear powers and essentially Iran's nuclear program. What does that say to you? Because
to me, let me just answer that. It sounds like kicking the fucking can down the road. That's what it sounds like. And that's the whole thing with the whole why Trump declined to make any type of peace, because they were saying, listen, we'll do this if you guys are willing to leave, and we'll put an end to this, but we can't give up our nuclear shit. And that's the one thing that we're not going to give up. So let's go ahead and table that for a second. We'll come back after we're not shooting missiles and munitions at each other. Then we will discuss on a diplomatic level how to deal with this nuclear shit. And of course, the United States said absolutely not.
Actually, President Trump, his administration has said they're not going to do anything that prevents those talks from happening.
Well, I think what we're seeing here, Josh, is kind of a test of wills.
Hey, Dennis, I very much appreciate that, by the way. So I want to see real quick. I do want to skip ahead because I really don't need to hear his analysis on this. I mean, I'm the analyst. So let's go ahead and see what Iran International English has to say right here.
I think the count that CENTCOM released yesterday is 42 or 44 ships have been turned back.
Shut up, homie, so this motherfucker can read it.
Either turned back toward an Iranian port or away from going to an Iranian port. We've seized a couple of those ships, taken them to a new strait of the hazards are coming through.
Okay, this motherfucker ain't going to shut up. I'll read it. Iran's internet blackout has reached 63 days, totaling more than 1488, so 1,488 hours of disruption. NetBlocks said on Friday, warning the prolonged restrictions are limiting communication with the outside world. The group said the shutdown is preventing many families abroad from checking on relatives' safety and well-being as connectivity remains severely restricted. It says Iran blackout hits 63 days. NetBlocks says families cut off.
We're going to need additional allied support.
Brutal.
You know, last week there was a meeting between France and England. They said, okay, let's get 40 countries together and try to do.
Oh shit, brother So Loud coming in with the 10 spot saying overtime pay. And you know what they say? There's no overtime, or there's no tax on overtime. Thank you very much for the 10 spot, my man. Great. It goes a long way. So, and it adds up very quickly. So thank you for that.
Do something. Their caveat, though, is
thank you, Dennis.
After it's safe
Much
to
love.
do so. Well, that's not going to be effective, and that's a little bit.
Brother TVT in the building. Shout out.
Too little, too late at this point. I know that.
Okay, I want to see if there's any other like big. Oh, here's another one. Lucas puts out a from Fox. Puts out a update of
that
some
have been
sort
issued.
here.
Popping this up on your screen right now, coming in from our buddy Lucas Tomlinson over at Fox News, as he says the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, bans travel to Iran, Lebanon, and Iraq and urges anyone there to return, quote, at the earliest opportunity. That's according to the foreign ministry. Anything to take away from that statement right there? We've seen so many different alerts that have been issued over, the month.
So the United Arab Emirates, UAE, bans travel to Iran, Lebanon, and Iraq and urges anyone there to return, quote, at the earliest opportunity, foreign ministry says. That's listen, man, there's the disruption in the Middle East right now is massive. There's a lot of shit going on. Now, here's two different posts here. I do want to see this. What is this? The Pentagon is lying. Who put this out?
Times what it claimed.
Hold on. Back it up a little bit more. There we go.
Here, as we pop this up on your screen, this is a post from this morning coming in from the foreign minister of Iran questioning that, saying the Pentagon is lying. Netanyahu's gamble has directly cost America $100 billion so far, 4 times what it claimed. Indirect costs for U.S. taxpayers are far higher. Monthly bill for each American household is $500 and rising fast. Israel first always means America last.
Shit.
How would Iran even begin to know this? I have to imagine, speaking frankly, that this is more propaganda.
Yes, friends, we actually reported on that on Tuesday or Wednesday. We reported on that.
You nailed it, Josh. This is pure propaganda. There's no way that they're going to know that. But what this message does mean is that they see the weak points and they see kind of the pressure point that they can apply on the United States, both domestically and internationally, and that's economics. So they're watching the political discourse that's happening inside the United States, the differences.
I'm going to be honest. The U.S. military is not weak, and they're actually not dumb. I hate to break it to you.
And how things are going, and the fact that this isn't as popular a war, as the U.S. would like it to be, or as the administration would like it to be. So as I push that, I'm going to push any kind of messaging.
Now, everyone agrees with that, Gilbert, by the way.
Iran is excellent. They do this information warfare. They do it very well, extremely well. And that's what they're pushing for. They don't have a way to know this. So
this comes out from Iran International English. I was hoping this guy was going to shut up, but he definitely goes on. I can't read a lot of these words, but I'll go ahead and try. Iran's judiciary chief said authorities do not seek war, but would fight if threatened, adding that negotiations are acceptable only, quote, without coercion. God damn it. We do not welcome war, but we are not afraid of it. If our dignity is threatened, we will fight. And then I can't pronounce this dude's name. He said Friday, adding legal action over attacks would continue and warning opponents cannot impose terms through pressure or negotiations. All right, see if there's anything else. It looks like there is. The IDF puts out 24-hour recap. Southern Lebanon, 40-plus Hezbollah infrastructure sites dismantled, which we reported on yesterday, by the way. Among the targets struck, command centers, military structures, and additional terrorist infrastructures. All right, let's see if there's anything else. No, there is not. We're moving on into our next story. Actually, we reported on this yesterday, and now we've got a little bit of a follow-up to do before we get into the Foss High School stabbing of the new details that are revealed this morning. But this morning, 3 hours ago, we do have an update from this whole thing, from what we saw Sheriff Judd over there in Florida, what he was discussing yesterday about this Santa trafficker, this dude, this old man that tried to meet up with a very young girl for sex, which is, I mean, just unbelievable. I just can't stand these people. Anyways, it was the feds that put out the ad. He responded, said, and he was talking to the quote unquote father of the daughter and was like, hey, the old weird dude was like, hey, are you going to be in the room or are you not going to watch, and he's like, no, we'll give you privacy or whatever. And he's like, well, because I'm going to be real gentle. Oh my, it's just absolutely, dude, where is the wood chipper? You know what I mean? All right, let's go ahead and get into this and we'll quickly discuss it.
An extremely disturbing situation out of Florida. Viewer discretion advised here, as a man known for playing Santa Claus at Christmas events in Polk County, Florida, is one of nearly 20 people arrested during an undercover operation focusing on accused child predators. We're joined now by Sheriff Grady Judd of Polk County, Florida. And Sheriff, thank you so much for being here. I mentioned this, but an incredibly disturbing situation.
Josh, it's my pleasure to be with you today and to share with you how horrible this is.
Yes, let's make sure we get the likes up, by the way. Double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Listen, you don't have to love everything that's happening around the world, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here. So thank you. This
guy was a preacher. That's right. A pastor, and of at least 40 years. He also was a communications and marketing director for Tri-County, which is a mental health, drug, and alcohol abuse organization, very well respected. They immediately fired him. And everyone, Lakeland metro area is probably 300,000 or 400,000 people. Everybody knew this guy as Santa Claus. He was in the huge Lakeland Christmas parade every year, Santa Claus. People hired him. In fact, when we...
and he pointed out, meaning Judd did, he pointed out yesterday, like, this man has had thousands and thousands and thousands of fucking children sit on this fucking dude's lap. Oh my God. It's so gross.
We were doing the undercover operation. One person that was there said, oh my gosh, I've already booked him to be Santa Claus at a Christmas party.
No more.
Another detective showed me a picture of his children sitting on Santa Claus's lap with my detective and his wife standing behind. So that's how popular he was. And he came to this undercover location thinking he was chatting with a 13-year-old father, and the father was selling the daughter.
Right.
And he said, are you going to be in the room while I have sex with the little girl? And he used the name we used. And the father said, no, I hadn't planned to. He said, well, you don't need to. I'm 68 years old and I'm going to be very gentle with her.
Oh my fucking God. Come on.
Isn't that frightening?
That is absolutely terrifying. And
Fucking
we've
gross.
aired a lot of different news conferences that you've held. We've aired those here on Live Now from Fox. You've seen some very disturbing situations that have taken place. And of
Wow,
course, you've
Pablo.
provided updates
Terrible.
on them. But as the sheriff there, someone who knows this guy, what goes through your mind when you hear those incredibly disturbing allegations?
Well, first and foremost, he is so recognized in the community and a reputable person. In fact, he was at a Rotary meeting and had his picture with me 2 weeks ago. We all thought he was a stand-up guy, and he dressed and
the entitlement. He thought he was like invincible or some shit just because he rubs shoulders with some high up people, officials or whatever.
looked absolutely like the real Santa Claus. You know what I'm saying? So we were all shocked in this community. We were glad to arrest
That's right, Jimmy.
him because we didn't know what his dirty little secret was. And now we're looking to see if there may have been victims, live victims. We saved what ostensibly would have been a 13-year-old child from sexual battery by Santa Claus by arresting this deviant.
What is your message to maybe people in the community right now if they do have any information about this? Obviously, as you mentioned, this man is well known for playing Santa. They maybe have some information that you all need. What would you say to them? What is your message to them?
Sure. The message that we've put out throughout our social media in the community is come forward, call us, let us screen your child and see if your child's been a victim before. He has had tens of thousands of children set on his lap
Ah, that's so gross to think about.
over his career as Santa Claus. And we know that there very well may be a victim, a child that was in need of attention that he was able to get to. He was bold about this when he was talking to the child's father, thinking that he had set up a deal to have sex with a 13-year-old little girl. I want to make this abundantly clear. We loaded his sleigh with a lot of serious criminal charges. Upon conviction, he will never have access to another child because he'll be locked up in Florida prison for the rest of his life.
And Sheriff, I want to go in reverse a little bit because this is actually part of a larger operation that was conducted, I believe you said, over the course of just a week or so. Can you explain the operation in general and what else you were able to find?
Absolutely. We arrested 19 child sex predators in this piece of the operation. We called it Poke Around and Find Out. And this was child predator sting number 8. You see, we have a team that's dedicated to nothing but searching out child predators and child pornographers and going after them with a vengeance to bring them to justice. But there was another piece of the operation, and I'm doing a big press conference at 10 o'clock this morning. And that piece of it was a human trafficking operation where we arrested 247. So altogether in a 6-day operation, we arrested 266 people. We rescued victims of human trafficking. We charged people. One guy showed up with a half a kilo of methamphetamine.
Jesus.
And we arrested all of these really, really bad actors. And you're going to be surprised at this press conference, some of the information that I released today.
Yeah, but Samuel, it's not just Fox reporting any of this. It's all media outlets. And Fox has nothing to do with anything that we're presenting, actually, because here's the deal, is we're not giving you opinion pieces. We're giving you what the facts is from what's actually happening. Okay, we're not just discussing what's happening. We're actually seeing what's happening with most of our stories that we're showing. Right now, we're hearing the sheriff that is dealing with this exact problem, whether it was on Fox, CNN, NBC, CBS, NBC, doesn't matter. I'd be listening to the story there, right?
Hey.
And we're going to take that live here on air with the help of our Fox 13 Tampa team for sure. And Sheriff, my last question for you here before I let you go, going back to what I asked you about your message to the community with people who maybe have information, what is your message to the community overall, to people who are concerned as they're seeing all of this information here develop?
Well, if you hear something or see something, say something. We have a special victims team that will come out and work with you and determine whether or not your child has been a victim of this child sex predator, Santa Claus, or of any of the other sexual predators or any other sexual predators that may have attacked your child. You see, we have to be vigilant every day because now social media has given unfettered access to your children. That's something that years ago didn't happen. They had to hang out at ballparks or city parks, and it was very difficult for this kind of person to get to your child. Not so anymore. So you have to pay attention to all of your child's online activity. If you don't, the child sex predator, the pedophile, is walking boldly into your home and grooming your child while you sit in the next room.
Gross. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and go into our last couple of stories here because we are already 25 minutes into overtime right now. So we've got two major stories here that's happened. We have some things that happened yesterday. There was a high school stabbing that happened, and there was 5 people in total. 4 are critically injured at this current moment, and there's 1 guy in custody. Okay, so there's new developments coming out this morning, right before we started the stream, and then after that, we have a breaking story that just happened an hour ago. 5 people were killed in Texas small plane crash. Terrible news to hear, but let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll quickly discuss this first story: Foss High School stabbing.
Took
New
place
details.
at a high school. This is over in Tacoma, Washington. Now, we do have Sean Chitness over at our Fox 13 Seattle team. He has been on the ground following all of the latest. And Sean, I know there is a lot to this. The investigation is still a very active one. What do we know, and what are we still working to figure out at this point?
Josh, good morning. Well, police say they are still trying to figure out exactly what happened, what led up to this incident. For now, though, we are here at Foss High School in Tacoma, where school will be closed for the day, as well as any activities that normally would take place. I do want to give you an update on what we have in terms of the conditions of all of the people that are involved. Altogether here, there are 5 victims that we've been told about, 4 students as well as 1 security guard. And then the suspect in this case as well also was injured. In this particular situation, they had to send those victims as well as the suspect to different hospitals, altogether 3 in the area. So the latest information that we have from the Tacoma Fire Department is that 4 students were in critical condition when they went to the hospital. The suspect and the security guard in this case have minor injuries. We have reached out to try and get more information and an update on their conditions. We haven't heard back yet. So the suspect in this case, who again is also a student here at Foss High School, is facing 5 counts of first-degree assault. Tacoma police are still trying to determine, like I said, what happened inside the school. We know that
and with the intent to kill.
They were in lockdown when this happened yesterday afternoon around 1:30 local time. Students say there was a fight that broke out inside, and they were all shaken up, especially as they're getting close to the end of their school year.
It's traumatizing because it's your first year, and like it's almost the end of the school year.
Honestly, when I heard my friends got stabs, I was like kind of broken. I really hope they're okay. The man above only makes that right, so I just pray.
So students told us the
So just so you guys know, this happened over there in Tacoma, Washington.
Fight may have started over a vape pen, but that is something police have yet to confirm.
Over a vape pen, and then he stabs 5 people? Come on.
Students also told us about a video that they have been sharing with each other and that they are seeing on social media that actually shows the fight. As of last night, when we spoke to police, they were working to review that video and try and get their hands on it to see if that was something that they could verify and confirm any more details. So we're waiting to learn more today, the day after this stabbing. But again, we know that there won't be any school here today. And when students do return on Monday, there will be counselors here to help them get through the next steps in this case, as well as continue in school. Josh, back to you.
And Sean, my understanding, because I know that there was a news conference that was held yesterday outside of the school with Tacoma police. It was pretty brief.
Yeah, exactly, Tom. I was like, just first-degree assault. I mean, with the intention to fucking kill. Why isn't that on there or
But
whatever?
There's no word on any potential news conference today, later today, anything of that nature, right?
No kidding, Nate.
Right. So we were hoping to get more information from them later after that press conference you're talking about. We didn't get any additional details, and they hadn't scheduled anything for today as of yet. So as a new day begins here, we are reaching back to all of the different organizations involved, not only Tacoma Police, but also Tacoma Public Schools, which has yet to say anything directly about this incident other than notifying
That's not surprising.
parents in the community that there won't be school here today.
Sean Chitness over at Fox 13 Seattle will be sure to check in as we get much more.
All right, so let's go ahead. And of course, we're going to follow all these stories as they develop. Here's our, let's get into this next story here. And this just is breaking, by the way, just an hour ago. 5 people were killed in Texas small plane crash. Terrible news.
We continue to follow some breaking news out of Wimberley, Texas. We're learning 5 people have been killed in a plane crash overnight in the Wimberley area. Joining us now is Jessica Rivera with Fox 7 Austin on live now from Fox. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. What are you seeing out there? I can see you're in the news car. What are you seeing as you've been approaching the scene?
Hi, good morning, Christy. Yes, we haven't been able to see a lot just because this incident happened.
Oh, what happened? What happened?
We were able to kind of get close to the crash site, but we were told to get off of that private property. So we've been staying on the public road. We did see a lot of DPS and emergency personnel arrive. Let me show you what the road looks like right now. So as I just mentioned, this is very remote situation. It's not really affecting anyone really besides just these owners of this house. And so we were told by the judge that this has been a very tragic incident. We mentioned 5 people passed away last night. And so we were able to get some information from the judge. He told us that this was a private aircraft. It was identified as a Cessna 421C, and it confirmed to crash near this area right here.
Yeah, David, no kidding.
Authorities confirmed that all those 5 occupants that were on that plane died. Fire and EMS have been out here on scene. You know, this area is still kind of away from a lot of people, so there's not a lot of traffic coming in and out. And so there's still the early stages of the investigation. You know, we're learning as we're going throughout the day. So we do know that the aircraft was traveling at a high rate of speed at the time that it was impacted. And based on the current findings, there was no indication that there was a mid-air collision, but we do know that there was a second aircraft that was traveling near it, but it was able to land safely in New Braunfels. So the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board have been notified, and they're going to be leading the investigation in the cause of this crash. I was told by the judge a couple of hours ago that he has been notified that there's going to be some investigators arriving to Hayes County. The sheriff's office has also...
Well, that's what they were saying is there was no evidence, at least on the radar there, the tracker, that that there was any collision at all. It just showed that they were going, and there was no suggestion that they had hit anything.
Notified us. They've been talking to reporters out here telling us that there's going to be a public information officer that's going to be able to give us more info.
Hell yeah, Matt. Welcome back to the channel, my man. Great to see you in the chat. And yes, by the way, this man right here is a legend. He's also an amputee as well. Actually, he's a double amputee, right, Matt? Yes, I think you are. And you're both above the, well, are both above the knee. I can't remember. And he rides motorcycles. Motherfucker's badass. Anyways, me and him, I actually did an interview with him back in the day, which was awesome. So it's still on the channel right now.
Information. We're hoping to get that press conference within the next couple of hours to, really understand what happened.
Oh,
what led
got
to
you.
This.
Got you.
All we're knowing.
Got you, Matt. My bad. Because there's another guy that literally his name is Toothless. That's literally his
right
road
now
name.
that aircraft was going at a high speed and did not crash with anyone, just made its way here in Wimberley.
And Jessica, I wanted to ask you, you've been sharing this external view of the car that you're in, and we can see there's raindrops on the window there. What has the weather been like over the past 24 hours there? And are officials saying that maybe weather played a factor in this, or do they not know that yet?
So the past 24 hours here in Hays County, it has been heavy rainfall. We've seen about a half an inch to an inch yesterday, and today we're expecting to see more. So that rain could have had some impact on that travel.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm surprised that they didn't get actual footage of the plane down. They're in the area. I was kind of assuming that was going to happen. Let's see what this is being reported right here, what this is.
And once again, here are some posts that are just coming in on social media here. Now, to quickly recap what Jessica said, if you are just joining us, 5 people have been killed in a plane crash overnight. This all taking place in the Wimberley area there in Texas. Now, the aircraft has been identified as the Cessna 421C, and once again had 5 people on board, all 5 confirmed dead at this time. A preliminary investigation shows the plane
I noticed that as well,
was
Charles.
traveling at a high rate of speed at the time of this crash, but there is no indication of a mid-air crash. And we heard from Jessica there that the FAA and the NTSB have been notified about this crash, and they will be leading the investigation.
All right. And so if any other developments come out from any of these stories, any story that we bring up, we try our best to follow. So anyways, listen, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys always show so much love, appreciation, engagement, hitting that like button as well, double tapping the screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Listen, I can't thank you guys enough for a great week. It actually flew by for me this week. But we've got members only tomorrow morning. So we're not going to be discussing any of this shit here. We never discuss any of the crazy Monday through Friday shit on members only. That's time for us to have a good time, laugh, all that shit, right? So anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for members only. If you guys aren't a member, we'll see you guys Monday morning. Great to see everybody, and thank you all for being here. We'll see you guys very soon. Make sure you guys stick around for the raid too. We're going to be raiding our buddy Chatting with Stacks. We just set up the raid. So, all right. There we go. We're all ready to go. Much love, honor, respect, everybody. Much love, honor, respect. And listen, make sure you guys stay safe out there. God bless, everyone. Much love.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning.